Live 5 News starts now with breaking news.
Right now, Charleston County deputies investigating a triple murder in Ravenel.
2 women and a girl were found shot dead in their home at the Ravenel Mobile Home Park. A small child, a 4-month-old boy, and a woman survived the shooting, and a suspect is now in custody.
We have live team coverage right now. Megan Wallace and Hannah Mosley join us from Ravenel. Megan, deputies say their quick response may have saved one of the victims' lives.
Yeah, Debbie, in a press conference, Sheriff Cannon said that a deputy got here within 5 minutes of that first initial call around 1:40, and he was here right as the suspect was seen pulling the injured woman into a car. So the sheriff said if he hadn't gotten here as fast as he could, he doesn't know what would have happened to that injured woman. So he's saying that deputy most likely saved that woman's life. And this is definitely a scene where a lot of authorities are here. It's been raining really hard since the beginning of this. So processing this crime scene is definitely difficult. There's also a lot of people that are showing up here at the mobile home park, having heard what happened, having worried that their family was involved, and also coming home from work. So this is definitely an ongoing thing here out at the Ravenel Mobile Home Park. But what we do know is 1 man is in custody. 1 woman is at the hospital with a gunshot wound to the leg. She's expected to survive and be okay. And then there are 3 females who have been killed, 2 older women and 1 who appears to be a younger woman. We don't know their names. We don't know their relationship. We do know a baby boy, an infant baby boy, was found alive in that trailer where those women were found dead. He's being taken care of right now by Charleston County Sheriff's deputies. Reporting live in Ravenel, I'm Megan Wallace, Live 5 News. And we're just across Highway 17, a little bit closer to where the shooting actually happened in the Ravenel Mobile Home Park. I want to give you an idea of what is going on around me. A lot of people still, as you can see, out on their front porch, people walking down from where they work, where they live, hearing about the shooting, coming down here to get answers. And we've been here all afternoon, and I can tell you we've seen a lot of tears, a lot of people hugging each other. I just spoke with one man who said he is born and raised in this area. He says it's been more than 50 years since he's lived here, and he's never heard or seen anything like this in this area. So a lot of people devastated, in shock this afternoon. And we've been talking with several people. Again, people continuing to come. If you look, you can see cars on this side of the Highway 17, and also further down, you can see them just lining the street. Again, people coming, looking for answers, hearing multiple people dead in this shooting, and wanting to know what caused all of it. Of course, we're searching for more answers as well. We're going to continue to be live here at the scene. As soon as we learn more details about this shooting, we will bring you an update. Reporting live from Ravenel, I'm Hannah Mosley, Live 5 News.
Hannah, thank you. Folks, stay with Live 5 News on air and online at live5news.com. We were the first news team on the scene and the first to report the suspect's arrest. We will continue to have the latest breaking news on this tragedy in Ravenel on live5news.com.
And another live look outside. Most of us seeing rain right now here in the Charleston area, and this rain could last into our evening hours. Our chief meteorologist, Bill Walsh, joining us from the First Alert Weather Center. Bill?
Yeah, hey, Debbie, we gave you the first alert to this during the late night last night before you went to bed, told you what to expect during the day today. Joey followed it up through the day, and of course, we've been tweeting about these heavy showers throughout the afternoon. You can see a lot of that activity continues up and down the South Carolina coast, in particular as you go from, say, the coastal counties all the way back down south and east. And again, with our first alert super Doppler, we could take you right down to the street level, but just a lot of rain continuing in the area. Some moderate rain as well. We're looking at some moderate back down towards, say, Edisto Beach, and then back down toward Walterboro, still looking at some showers and a couple of isolated areas of thunder we'll keep you an eye on as well. Now, let me go ahead and show you what it looks like as far as up close in the downtown area. And again, this is Charleston, Mount Pleasant, looking at moderate rain. If you're heading home over to West Ashley, back down into James Island, we'll keep an eye on that. As far as how much rain, let me zoom out and show you with our first alert super Doppler. We can also show you estimated rainfall over 1.5 inches in some places down in particular west of, say, Hollywood, back down between, say, Cottageville, Walterboro, down toward the Ace Basin, and back down toward Somerville, up to 1 inch, 1.5 inches of rain as that moisture continues to pour over the area. And that's going to be the story until after supper. Then I think we'll see that moisture start to end. We do have, of course, a flood advisory. This is an aerial flood advisory down toward Beaufort. So if you're down that way, Laurel Bay, back toward Ladies Island, lots of heavy rain over the last couple of hours. Be on the lookout for that. That goes until 5:45. So here's what to expect as we roll on into this evening and tonight. The rain will taper off after supper time tonight. It does stay unsettled into the week. As a matter of fact, I don't expect as much rain tomorrow, but on and off showers will be scattered. And then by the weekend, it looks like it's still going to be on the wet side. Now, coming up new in a few minutes, more on that. We'll talk about the actual weekend coming up and what to expect. It's all coming up right here live in just a few minutes. Now, what about that drive out there? It's been tough all afternoon. Emily Gracie standing by. How are we doing, Emily?
Yeah, things very slow out there. It started earlier this afternoon, and now a lot of backups. Let's go to the map and show you where the worst of it is. 26 going to be a bad spot right there as you're approaching 526 in those westbound lanes. We're down to 12 miles an hour right now. And a live look out there, you can see very slow moving traffic in those westbound lanes. Looks like it's moving pretty smoothly if you're headed eastbound into town. Just a rough ride leaving town. In fact, those drive times are very slow. 50 minutes is what it's going to take you from downtown to Somerville this evening. Smooth as you're headed into town. We saw it there on the pictures. 526 westbound going over the Don Holt Bridge down to 8 miles an hour right now. A live look there where we're seeing just stop and go traffic. It's been rough in both directions there on 526. Rain slowing things down mainly. Not a ton of accidents out there, just slow moving traffic. It's going to take you over an hour if you're headed westbound from Mount Pleasant to West Ashley on 526.
Right now, the North Charleston Police Department is officially under review. Officials with the Justice Department are in town taking an in-depth look at the department's policies and procedures. Our police reporter Harv Jacobs is live at the police department. So Harv, officials say this is all about improving relationships between the police department and the community.
Debbie, those relations soured with many people here in the community after Walter Scott was shot a year ago, by former North Charleston police officer Michael Slager. As part of the process, several of the police officers who drive these crews behind me, many of them are going to be questioned by the folks who are doing this review from the Department of Justice. They are on the ground now, boots on the ground, ready to do the review starting today. Here are some of the things they're going to be looking at. They were looking at the use of force policy, and also the training that the police department does. The community will be very, very involved in this process also. They will be interviewed also. They'll be kept up to date anytime there is a progress report or with and the final recommendations. And those final recommendations, by the way, they're expected to be sometime in the next 2 years. Again, Justice Department officials are reviewing the police department. They're not investigating the department. That is a big, big difference. North Charleston is the 11th city in the United States to undergo this type of review by DOJ. Reporting live from the North Charleston Police Department, I should say, Harv Jacobs, Live 5 News.
A hearing has been set in the federal trial against Dylan Roof, whom you see here. On June 8th, Roof's attorneys will meet with the prosecutor and the judge in the case, Richard Gergel. Right now, Roof has entered a not guilty plea because federal prosecutors have not yet decided if they will seek the death penalty against him. Roof is charged with the deaths of 9 members of Mother Emanuel in downtown Charleston during Bible study last year. Rifle Range Road in Mount Pleasant back open this afternoon after 2 suspects ran from a traffic stop. It happened just before noon. Police say 2 people ran from the stop near Scotts Creek and Chelsea Park. Police say 1 person has been caught, that person not facing charges. The driver of the car has been identified. Police are still investigating.
In our big stories this afternoon, a cargo ship captain who worked for the company that owned the freighter El Faro, which sank last year in a hurricane, says he was asked to resign or be fired after reporting safety concerns about his ship. He said he got fired. Captain Jack Hearn testified today before a U.S. Coast Guard panel investigating El Faro's sinking last October. All 33 on board, including Goose Creek native Joe Hargrove, died. Right now, crews are planning a recovery mission for the ship's data recorder to learn more about the sinking. The Senate has passed legislation that would allow families of September 11th victims to sue the government of Saudi Arabia. Today, senators approved the bill despite threats from Saudi Arabia's capital to pull billions of dollars from the U.S. economy if the bill is enacted. The legislation gives victims' families the right to sue the government of Saudi Arabia in U.S. court for any role that elements of the Saudi government may have played in those attacks.
In the next hour, Sullivan's Island Town Council members will look at making changes to the parking rules on the island. The town wants all drivers to keep their wheels off the pavement when parking on streets. Karina Bolster live on Ion Avenue off Station 23. Karina, they want to make this change because of a public safety hazard.
Bill, the town administrator tells me that they want to make it easier for first responders to try and get around the island. Now, I'm told during beach season, as you know, we're not in full swing of it yet, but during beach season, streets like this one that I'm standing on right now tend to be lined with people parking on both sides of the road. Now, as you can see, we don't have too many cars out here right now. We've got a few cars along with a golf cart, but under this new ordinance that's going to be talked about tonight is that town councilors will be really mainly discussing your tires and the pavement. Now they say, as we mentioned, that they want to make sure that the drivers keep all of their tires off the pavement. Cars like these, as you can see right now, would be violating that town ordinance if the town council were to move forward with it. Now, this is really all a part of a plan that was submitted to the South Carolina Department of Transportation. What the town also looks to do is limit parking to one side of the street to, again, help with the emergency vehicles making their way around the island. Now, I'm told at this point, no decisions have been made about that overall plan. Tonight, when it comes to your wheels and the pavement, it's just the first reading. There will have to be more meetings and discussion about this change to the ordinance in the future. Live on Sullivan's Island, Karina Bolster, Live 5 News.
Karina, thank you. A reminder that new parking rules are also in effect on the Isle of Palms. Now, you will no longer be allowed to park in some residential areas on the Isle of Palms if you don't live there. These red lines show where you are allowed to park on the street during beach season. Some side streets between Ocean Boulevard and Carolina Boulevard are open for parking, along with some parts of Palm Boulevard. There are signs on poles clearly marking everything.
The South Carolina House has overridden Governor Nikki Haley's veto of a bill to send $40 million in aid to farmers across the state who lost their crops in last year's massive floods. The 112-2 vote was well over the two-thirds margin needed. The bill now heads to the Senate. Yesterday, the governor said she vetoed the bill because it gives farmers help not available to other small businesses. Haley says farmers have crop insurance and federal aid to cover their losses. Coming up after the break, more on that breaking news out of Ravenel, where 2 women and 1 female juvenile have been killed.
And hear from the Midlands teenager injured in a deadly hit and run on I-26 that killed her best friend. Recapping now our top story. 3 people are dead after a shooting in Ravenel this afternoon. Officials say 2 women and a girl were shot and killed in a home in the Ravenel Mobile Home Park.
You're taking a live look right now at the scene. Deputies were called here about 1:30 this afternoon. 1 infant boy found in a trailer alive. I understand he's 4 months old. 1 woman being treated at a local hospital for gunshot wounds to the leg. Police say they have 1 person in custody.
We were the first to break this news. We will continue to keep you updated throughout the evening. Why don't you download our Live 5 News app if you haven't already? It will be alerting you to breaking updates in this case.
The Low Country's news leader. Your first alert forecast from the most trusted weather team. Live 5 News.
All right, kind of a wet Tuesday. We also gave you the first alert to this rain on the way last night before you went to bed, and certainly throughout the day with Joey this morning and our tweets and our live broadcast here this afternoon. You can see how much heavy rain continues down along the south coast. We're continuing to look at moderate to heavy rainfall, in particular from the metro all the way down here, back on into eastern Colleton County, all the way back out along the Savannah River, and then down south. We're looking at moderate to heavy rainfall as well. Let me show you the metro, and again, moderate heavy rain over to Mount Pleasant, downtown, back back over to James Island, Seabrook down along the Sea Islands, west of the Ashley, even up into North Charleston. So be on the lookout for that. I want to kind of zoom out a little bit, kind of show you the trailing edge, because it looks like the heavy stuff now is going to continue to push to the north and east. But here's the trailing edge of this stuff. Once this gets out here, this slightly drier air will start to work its way in from the west as an area of low pressure develops off the coast. And I think we'll see improving weather heading our way after dinner time. So bottom line, rain between now and through dinner, and then after that, we'll start to see some drying, I think, into the evening hours. We do have that aerial flood advisory for another half hour or so down toward Beaufort County, so be on the lookout for that if you're watching us down there on Hargrave Cable. Here's a live picture. You take a look at our HD MUSC tower cam. Look at that. Oh boy, you can see a lot of clouds, a lot of rain, and a temperature that's only at 70 degrees. We should be about 83 this time of the year, right? Boy, it is cool out there, 90% humidity, north to northeast wind at about 6 and pretty restricted visibility in some places. 70 out in Cottageville right now, Edisto at 68, 70 North Charleston, Moncks Corner 66, 68 over in Somerville. Even up Georgetown your way, you're going to see some of that rain coming again here in a little while, about 68 degrees. Andrews at 70. As we push this aside and talk about your next few hours, if you're going out for that maybe dinner run later on tonight, you're going to do a little shopping at the mall. By 7 o'clock, still some rain showers, 74. Still some rain at 8 o'clock. But by, say, 9, 10, we pull the rain down a little bit as far as that chance, but temperatures are going to stay in the 70s. Complex weather system we've got going on. A real strong fetch of upper-level moisture coming in from the southwest. This front will continue to push its way to the east, and an area of low pressure is going to develop off the coast late tonight and into tomorrow. It all means good chance of rain. Keep that umbrella close by. Here's how it looks now. Right now at 5 o'clock with the rain. Let me take you through late tonight and into early tomorrow morning. Look at this. There's 11 o'clock. Most of the heavy rain starts to get out of here after supper time. And then look at this. As we head for 6 o'clock in the morning, mostly cloudy, maybe some fog. So check in with Joey starting at 5 a.m. And then by lunchtime, we're going to go with, I think, some sun and clouds mixing tomorrow. It'll start to warm up pretty quick once we get that sunshine out there. And then as we head for, say, the time the kids get out of school in the afternoon, we get to the bus stop later in the day. Maybe you got some plans to try to do some yard work later tomorrow afternoon. You might squeeze a little bit in the afternoon, but again, we're not going to rule out some stray showers and even a couple of thunderstorms later in the day. So bottom line, 66 for the overnight showers early, and then they'll end. And then look at this. 83 tomorrow, mostly cloudy. And again, we're going to put that afternoon hit and miss splash and dash shower in the forecast as we make our way at about 40% for tomorrow. Now, let's talk weekend, because we always show you the weekend first, Walsh's weekend first, and you can see a 50% chance on Friday. So we keep wet stuff in our forecast right into the weekend. Saturday, 81. Sunday, about a 30% chance, 83. So in particular, Friday, Saturday, it's going to be on the wet side. Could even see moderate to heavy rainfall as this upper low kind of spins around the mid-Atlantic. So we're going to be talking about that, and then it starts to get out of here later Sunday. We'll keep you posted on that. As far as tomorrow goes and on into Thursday, keep the raincoat handy, although a little less chance tomorrow and Thursday, upper 70s Thursday. There's the weekend we talked about, and then we dry out into the beginning part of next week. What about that drive home? We're watching that, especially with the wet roadways. What's going on there, Emily?
Yeah, major slowdowns out there. The map, a lot of red, we're seeing it, and in the rough spots right there, 26 and 526 going to be the problem areas this evening. Our traffic flow map showing not a whole lot of incidents, but a whole lot of slowdowns out there. 526 westbound, you're down to 11 miles per hour as you approach the Westmoreland Bridges. A live look out there right now. You can see slow traffic in both directions. Certainly eastbound, we are seeing some slow traffic, and westbound as well. The speeds on 526 going to be very slow. 33 minutes eastbound from West Ashley to Mount Pleasant, but 71 minutes westbound from Mount Pleasant to West Ashley. So a very slow ride there. 26 westbound going to be a slow ride as you're leaving town, down to 11 miles per hour. Just north of the crosstown, you can see slowdowns right there. People tapping their brakes as they're trying to get out of town. That's mile marker 220, and slowdowns as far as that drive time down to 48 minutes westbound from downtown to Somerville.
She was just a really amazing person, so it's going to be hard not having her around anymore.
A 14-year-old Midlands girl seriously injured in a hit-and-run crash last week is making progress, but she's grieving after learning her best friend was killed in that crash. It happened 1 week ago on I-26 in Calhoun County when Emma's mother was driving Emma and her best friend Grace back from Bluffton after a track meet. Troopers say a truck hit their car, sending them crashing into a tree. The driver took off. The Highway Patrol is looking for a white Dodge Ram 2500 crew cab, much like this. If you've seen a pickup truck similar to this one with front end damage to the passenger side, you're asked to please call Crime Stoppers.
Horry County Police investigating after a 71-year-old man was killed after he was hit by a forklift. The victim has been identified as Joseph Huffman from Aynor. The accident happened on private property at a home near Aynor. Huffman died at Conway Medical Center. Police are still investigating. A manhunt continues for a person who escaped while at the Darlington County Courthouse on Monday. Deputies say 23-year-old Shenard King was able to run out of the courthouse after a judge announced his 9-year sentence on drug charges. Police say they thought he was leaving to talk to a family member. Instead, he ran down the stairwell. If captured, King will face additional charges for the escape. We are on your side. Technology has become one of the country's most important job creators.
But so far, women have been left on the sidelines. A group called Girls Who Code is trying to change all that.
Hannah Daniels reports on efforts to close the gender gap in high tech.
High school senior Ty Cruz wants to smash the glass ceilings of Silicon Valley.
One change I want to see is having more girls or more women be in the field. We need all voices to be heard.
The technology industry is facing a dramatic gender gap. Among the tech workers at Apple, 79% are male. Facebook, 84%, Google, 82%, and Microsoft, 83%. A spokesperson for the computer giant tells us Microsoft has a range of programs to recruit women and that it tries to be a leader in attracting women to careers in high tech. Reshma Sanjani has a different strategy. She started the organization Girls Who Code in 2012 to teach computer skills to young women like Ty. That requires breaking through cultural stereotypes of the typical programmer.
They're normally like a dude in a hoodie, like drinking a Red Bull somewhere, and he hasn't showered, and little girls look at him and say, I don't want to do that.
By the end of this year, Sujani expects to have reached 40,000 girls.
Women are now 60% of our labor force. We're over 40% of the breadwinners. So if we're going into fields that are not high paying, where you can't get a decent wage, we're simply leaving our women behind.
Ty is determined to make her mark on the world. Now that she's learned to code, she's planning for a career that combines both technology and art. Hannah Daniels, CBS News, New York.